Okay, so we're getting really close now. As you can see over my shoulder, the sun's about to come up over the horizon, and got my camera ready. I mean, this is the best time to take HDR shots because the lighting is so good at these times. The hills, you can really see the rolling foothills out in the distance, and that's really what I'm trying to capture with the sun and everything. I want to kind of get that silhouette of those hills first before the sun comes up. Alright, I think I got my shots. And it's freezing. My face is about to fall off. And I'm also bleeding. Pretty bad too. No one ever said this stuff was easy, kids. Photograph at your own risk. Okay, so I made it back safe and sound. Let's go ahead and start editing these photographs. First of all, I'm going to launch Macphun's brand new Aurora HDR Pro software. Macphun creates an enormous library of amazing pieces of software. So I went on and picked out the shots that I liked. I'm going to go ahead and put one of these together. This was the sunrise. And what most people do when they bracket, they'll do 3 different shots. They'll do one that is underexposed, one that's perfectly exposed, and then one that is a little bit overexposed. I generally like to have a wider dynamic range, so I do 2 underexposed, 1 perfectly exposed, and then 2 overexposed. Macphun makes it extremely easy for you to do your HDR photos and take a lot of the guesswork out of making sure that everything is the way it's supposed to be. Number 1, they allow you to just go ahead and set the alignment to make sure that all your photographs have lined up. Ghost reduction does the exact same thing. Helps to kind of line everything up, make sure that you don't have any like sort of ghosting artifacts off the edges. And of course, you know, why not? Chromatic aberration. Most lenses have at least some form of chromatic aberration, especially when you're trying to photograph stuff against a sky. Then you just click Create HDR. The software will start to do all of the things that it needs to do to get your alignment correct, get rid of your ghosting, and go ahead and create the image so that you can get to editing it. Now, if you're not familiar with Macphun software, it's not going to be that hard to pick up and learn. If you're used to Lightroom from Adobe, then you're going to be perfectly at home with Macphun's Aurora HDR. We've got the photographs loaded up, and this is sort of just a basic starting point. It starts you off with, you've got presets down here, which are easily followable because you kind of know what scenario you shot your photographs in. So you can start with some basic stuff. If you happen to shoot some cityscapes or something like that, maybe go with architecture. In this particular case, I shot some landscape stuff, so you could probably pick something that would work really well out of the landscape section. You've got some indoor, some dramatic, some Trey Ratcliffe presets, and then of course you can save different presets as your favorites. You can create your own, or you can just take a look at all of them and just kind of see which one you like best. But I'm going to go ahead and start off with some landscape presets. You can find something that you're going to like or something that's going to work really well with the images that you took, but a lot of times you can just use one of these as a starting point and then kind of customize and alter it to make it your own. So as you can see, we've got the rolling foothills out there in the distance, and we've got the sun just peeking up over the horizon, which is what I was waiting for. I was waiting for those golden rays to kind of start silhouetting and outlining. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to try this landscape deep, first of all. Oh man, really nice. Really, really nice. I like that a lot. But if you want to load up some more, you can just come up here, load up your new images if you want. This is where you basically share your images after you're done. You can send to mail, messages, Twitter, and you can also open it in other apps as well. So Photoshop, Lightroom, Aperture, iPhoto, or the new Mac Photos. All of the major ones are listed here. Obviously, Macphun's is listed up here at the top. And if you haven't tried any of those other ones out, I definitely recommend at least taking a look at them. I absolutely love Tonality, their black and white app. If you haven't checked that one out, definitely give that one a look. But anyway, you can zoom in at 100%, you can fit the image, or you can incrementally increase so that you can kind of see what you're doing, or zoom out. And then of course you can see the before and the after. When you apply something, it'll take a second or two to load up, but before and after, before and after. And then of course you can do a side-by-side and also slide the effect back and forth, so you can kind of get an idea of what you're working with and maybe what you like and don't like. And of course you've got your undo and redo button up here. Now, the really great thing about the software in general is that it works pretty much just like any other photo editing software. You've got layers. So you don't necessarily have to apply the presets or a specific preset to the whole image, and then you're just stuck with that. As a matter of fact, if I wanted to go ahead and just take this original image, and you'll notice that you've got some graininess up here in the top. It's kind of a bad thing, and I don't really want that. But what we can do is we can add, say, like another layer, and we could maybe apply something to affect only the sky, or we can take the brush, use the erase, and get rid of the effect up here, because the preset only exacerbates all that noise up there in the sky. And then what you can do is, once you erase the effect from that portion of the sky up here in your new layer, you can add to, using this tool, you've actually got a HDR denoise. So I'm just going to crank it all the way up, crank the smoothness maybe to 70, yeah. And we'll leave the opacity at about 70. Now what you want to do is you just want to draw on the portion that you want to kind of smooth out and get rid of any noise and artifacting. So I'm going to add this just to this portion up here at the top, so that it doesn't overly smooth the rest of the image out. And then of course, if you don't like it, you know, you can always change it. You can increase the smoothness, and then it will only affect that portion. And then you can affect the opacity, bring it all the way up to 100 or drop it all the way down to nothing. But anyway, it looks a whole lot better already. And this was basically the kind of look that I was going for. I was really wanting to bring out those oranges and those yellows. Let's go ahead and load up another set. And this is kind of a bonus. And I found these awesome plants. They're probably just weeds. And they were just completely covered in frost. Like I said, it was 25 degrees outside this morning. Okay, so after about 30 seconds worth of processing, making sure that everything was lined up and straight, we finally get a baseline HDR image. Right out of the gate, I think it looks pretty phenomenal. And you can see how crazy these little ice crystals and stuff are. I mean, they were perfectly formed on these leaves, so I just had to take a shot of it. But anyway, so let's go ahead and play around a little bit. Let me just try the landscape deep again and see how that works on this one. It'll probably make it a little too orangey for my taste, but it does kind of complement the sun a little bit. I think it looks pretty good, honestly. But I figured let's go ahead and play around. Let's check out dramatic. Creative drama. Let's try that one. Okay, so a little moody. It looks a bit more natural. So this one would probably not look as like fantastical as some of the other HDR shots that maybe you've seen out there before, but this one would easily work if you were just wanting to really punch up those details, really combine all the dynamic range from the multiple shots, and just give yourself a really nice detailed high dynamic range image. Well, I'm going to try this one. It's called Late Fall. Yeah, that one's not bad either. It kind of gives a little bit of the sun, but it looks a little odd in some places. So maybe we don't want to use that one. And I'm just going to start off with maybe something, since there's a lot of texture and structure to the leaves and the ice crystals and everything. Maybe I'll just use like architecture dramatic or something and really see if we can get those details to pop. Oh man, that looks so awesome. That would actually, I think this would look really cool as maybe a black and white. And I wanted to show you guys this, not to mention, not only can you use layers and add multiple layers, but you can do tone mapping in here. You can increase the structure and the clarity if you really wanted to punch up those details even more. Every small little aspect, the HDR look, you can either decrease that make it a bit more natural, a bit more realistic, or you can really crank it up and make it a lot more fantastical. The HDR detail, you can really send that to the moon if you want. I also like the fact that you can do split toning directly inside of the app. And as you can see, there's no shortage of tools here. So like I said, tone mapping, the tone, the structure, you can deal with your noise, you can use image radiance if you really wanted to make some make the light that's coming up off the objects in your scene to kind of pop out some more. You can deal with your color, saturation, and vibrance. You can mess with your details, mess with your small, medium, and large details, or just deal with highlights and shadows. Tone curve, color filter, and you can also, like I said, do the split toning. So if you wanted to do something pretty traditional, like in the movies or whatever, you could do like a peachy blue. Really kind of give it that movie look where you've got your shadows more in the blues, and then you get your highlights more into the oranges. So just having these already built in, the fact that Macphun was so thoughtful about doing that, just including it so that we don't have to just constantly recreate all that kind of stuff ourselves, very, very handy, and I certainly appreciate attention to detail. So I want to thank Macphun again for sponsoring this video and for helping me create some amazing images. And if you guys are interested in messing around with some of Macphun software as well, head on over to macphun.com, download the free trial, test it out for a few days, and make some beautiful art. Again, this is Mark Puckett, your host. I will talk to you guys again in the next one. Peace.